What do you do when you're dealing with an inconvenience, whether it's major or minor? Like, do we just start, losing our mind? Do we start crashing out? Or do we have to learn how to calm down and come up with a solution? Welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance, and let's just get straight into today's video. Now, disclaimer, depending on the severity of your issue, if you're able to get assistance, seek professional help depending on the problem. And when it comes to your health or death trigger warning, those are situations and circumstances that take more time, energy, and effort. You have to realize when it comes to you healing and just solving any issue, whether it's minute or it's major, that it all depends on how you react and respond. Because if we're going to be honest, we're constantly going to have inconveniences and we're constantly going to go through things in life. So a real life example, you guys, something that's happened to me was I was recently cleaning my mattress. I was watching my mattress, not watching, but washing with an S, excuse me. And I spilled water on my floor. Now, in the moment, I could have went off. I could have crashed out. I could have had a heart attack. But instead, I've had to come to the conclusion that I had to get my carpet fixed. I have to get it replaced, or I have to see if I can fix it myself. Now, of course, this takes experience. I have been a mental health specialist for the past 8 years. And even if you're not a mental health specialist, we as people have to realize that when we're going through things, it's really about the why. If you can understand why certain things happen to you, if you can understand the certain effects of your causes, you can learn from them and avoid them, and you can continue to practice to not be so quick to react and respond with your emotion. When you are constantly reacting and responding with your emotion, you cannot think clearly and you make decisions that end up being permanent. Now in life, when we make decisions, they could be long-term, they could be short-term, or they could be permanent. There are some decisions that are going to be permanent. Had I would have reacted and responded and just crashed out, it would have led into a negative outcome, and that's what we want to avoid. So these are going to be 5 recommendations in order for us to get to this level. Number 1, when you're dealing with problems, like I said, if it's not a health, if it's not death, there is a solution. Now, how quick, how fast you're able to come up with a solution depends on the situation. Me getting on water on my carpet, that could be minor, that could be major. Why? Because everyone doesn't have the resources to solve problems the same way that you do. So number 1, when you're going through situations, you cannot compare your situation to anybody else. Yes, we all go through things, but how we choose to react and respond is going to be different. So when you are realizing that you're going through something, you have to, number 1, learn how to accept what has happened, whether it is negative or positive. If you can accept the fact, if I could accept the fact that I spilled the water on the floor and I made a mistake, that can, number 1, help us calm down. You have to learn how to be grounded when dealing with situations, when dealing with pressure, when dealing with inconveniences. The goal is to stay so grounded and so calm that you realize, okay, all I have to do now is figure out what can I do to get this water out of the carpet, what can I do to clean the carpet, and how do I go about solving my problem. It is that simple. We make our problems, like I said, so much more complicated other than when it comes to health and death. And the reason why I said those things too is because specifically those things take a lot more time and energy and effort to heal with and to deal with. And the reason why I know is because nothing in life is going to last forever. Once you learn how to calm down, once you realize there's only 24 hours in a day, once you realize that sometimes we make mistakes, sometimes we make certain choices, and that they come with certain consequences and responsibilities, instead of beating ourselves up, instead of dwelling on these situations, just accept it. You have to learn how to accept the problems that you're dealing with. And like I said, the more effectively you practice this, the more things happen to you, you're able to duck and dodge them. We do not want to dwell on our issues. Now, of course, when you spill water on your carpet, emotionally, this could make you feel some type of way. This can affect you emotionally, physically, financially. It can affect you financially because maybe you don't have the money. It can affect you emotionally because now it's an inconvenience. Like, I had to sleep on a couch because of me spilling the water on the floor and for my mattress waiting for it to dry. Like, This does not invalidate your feelings and your emotions. This allows you to stay present. And that's the whole purpose. How we handle situations, how we handle trials and tribulations, how we handle the storm is going to determine how we move forward. Because like I said, you're always going to go through things. Regardless of how you feel, you have to learn how to accept things in life. And I know a lot of people like to be stubborn. I know a lot of people like to be in their emotions, especially if you weren't taught how to deal with your emotions or you lack emotional intelligence. Speaking from experience, it's not an option. Whether your therapist tells you that, your mom, your dad, anybody that you love and confide, if they care about you and they have your best interests, you have to learn how to accept things for what they are. We're not always going to be happy when inconveniences happen to us. If we're being honest, I don't think anybody wants to experience negativity. But until we can, like I said, realize the root of the issue, which we're going to talk about further in the video, what could you do about it? What could you possibly do about it? We have to be practical. And like I said, I'm not here to be delusional. I think that's very misleading and misinformative. So accept it. Once again, this takes time. This is a skill. This is a practice. I'm only saying this and speaking like this because I've already overcame my situations and trials and tribulations, and I'm at an age where I physically cannot afford to be stressed or overwhelmed. But we'll talk about that in a second. The second thing you have to do once you accept it, regardless of how you feel, is to validate how you feel. I'm not dismissing your feelings. I'm not saying that you don't have every right to be mad because now financially this is an inconvenience, emotionally this is inconvenience, physically this is inconvenience, or it's affected you. Talk about how you feel. So me personally, as I was making this mistake, at the time, I realized, and I caught myself immediately and realized that I made a mistake. So what did I do? I acknowledged that I just made a mistake. And I'm not the type of person to hold grudges, so this doesn't mean that I was not mad or I didn't feel any type of way, but I just knew like, okay, I made a mistake. This is something that I have to learn from, and moving forward, I know what not to do. Like, this doesn't mean in the moment when this happened to me, I didn't feel any type of way. But like I said, I'm at a point in my life where it's just like, if I have an issue, I have to come up with a solution. But you guys may not be there yet. This is why I recommend Speak From Experience, with helping along my healing journey and just working with people of all different walks of life. You have to realize that when you get sick, when people, even when people pass away, when things happen to us that we don't want us to happen, if it is out of our control, we have to learn how to be logical. Your feelings are valid, but you have to be logical. If you are too overly emotional, you're not going to realize that, okay, there is a possibility that this can be fixed. Like I said, unless it's health or death, those are two things that's going to be a different topic for a different video. It can be fixed. Nobody wants to, let's just say, leave on work on time and then get stuck in traffic or get into an accident. Nobody wants to be late if they left early. Nobody wants a flat tire. Nobody wants to have their brakes go out. Like, nobody wants to, deal with any trials and like, nobody intentionally says, oh yeah, I want this to happen to me, or nobody wants that. Nobody. But the reality is we have to learn how to be responsible. I made a mistake. And I acknowledge that. You have to own up to what you do, especially when you don't have control. Did I have control over this situation? Yes. Did I think fully about how this was going to play out? No. Why? Because this was the second time I had done something like this. It was still familiar to me. I take full responsibility though. If you could take full responsibility about making certain choices, and let's just say you didn't have the wisdom, you didn't have the guidance, you didn't know what you were doing, or something happened to you, you don't have to carry that burden. Everyone is going to make choices in life where they have to learn from. Learn the lesson though. Learn the lesson so you don't have to keep making the same mistake or the same choices over and over again. Like, you don't have to fault yourself just because you did something and the outcome wasn't the best. So you have to talk about that though. Until you can accept the situation, until you validate how you feel, you're just gonna think it's the end of the world. And that's how people get stuck. That's why people feel stagnant. Rather you lose a job, rather you get fired, like regardless of what it is. Like I said, nobody wants these bad things to happen to us, but it does. And there's going to be a different video. I could talk about a lot of the story times and the things that I went through. I could not allow myself to just be so disappointed. Like, that I didn't do anything about it. You have to learn how to move, like, and psychologically, from a mental health standpoint, when you don't move, when you don't constantly keep your body active, mentally, emotionally, consciously, subconsciously, you're sending your body like these signals, and these signals will cause you to feel paralyzed, and you being paralyzed can end up having you feeling like you're suffering, have PTSD, and depressed. And that's what we don't want. We don't want to be depressed because we made certain choices that we weren't too proud of. So the third thing you have to do now, once you are able to calm down, you've accepted the situation, you talk about how you feel, is figure out a solution. The goal of this video, the whole purpose of your mental health is to be active. You have to learn how to solve your problems immediately. Immediately. Come up with a solution. Come up with a plan. Like I said, you have to call somebody, you have to seek assistance. Because here's the thing. If you're not able to solve your problem immediately, trigger warning, you're going to have to go to God about it. You're going to have to go to the universe about it. You're going to have to go to the ancestors, or you're going to have to seek help. And this is the fourth thing. And the fifth thing is figuring out how did this happen. Before you can evaluate how to not have this happen again and to avoid this in the future or to be prepared for the future, we need to come up with a solution. So if I spill water on the carpet, immediately my instant reaction was, what can I do to solve this? So what did I do? Went on Google, called some professional help, started to get some baking soda, whatever I needed to do, rub this stuff out of the floor, like come up with solutions. Whenever you have a problem, immediately. The longer you wait to solve your problems, the more difficult it's going to be. Now, when you're not able to solve your problem immediately, because sometimes in life, we're not going to be able to solve our problems immediately. And that's, once again, you have to accept, you have to be okay with that. So that's the fourth thing. I skipped 4 before I will go into number 5. The fourth thing is accepting that sometimes you may not be able to solve your problems immediately. So what do you do in that moment? You're not going to believe me, but this works. You're not going to feel happy immediately, but you, have to seek guidance. Like, you have to physically talk to somebody. You have to confide in somebody. B, you have to exercise. You have to meditate. You have to relax your body. So you can go to the spa. You can work out. You can do Pilates. You can do yogas. You have to move your body. You have to keep your mind relaxed and keep yourself just active. C, or 3, you have to listen to music. You have to dance. Now, of course, when you're mad and you're angry and you're frustrated, you're going to be like, I don't want to listen to no music. I'm not better listen to her. Play a song right now. Now, of course, depending on how stubborn you are, you may feel like, okay, I'm not about to dance. Play 1 to 10 songs. And it will change your mood. Does this solve your problem immediately? No. But once again, if you're not in a situation to where you can solve your problem immediately, you have to accept it. If you can't go to God about it, if you can't go to the universe about it, if you can't go to the ancestors about it, what are you going to do about it? Like I said, logically, let's not be emotional, because when we're too emotional, like I said, we make decisions we end up regretting. We end up crashing out. We end up dead or in jail prematurely. And once again, those are 2 places we don't want to avoid. We don't want to be, so we want to avoid, excuse me. So lastly, the 5th thing is, if you're not able to solve your problem, or if you were able to solve your problem, is evaluate what went wrong. That's the most important step. That's the most important thing when it comes to you solving problems and dealing with inconveniences. What went wrong? Acknowledge it and take authority, take ownership, own up to it. Nobody can judge you. Nobody can shame you. Nobody can make you feel bad. Nobody can make me feel bad about spilling water on the carpet, because that's the second time I've ever tried to clean my mattress myself before. And if you judge me, you're hypocritical, because when was the last time you washed your mattress? You feel me? People try to make you feel bad about things that they do privately or they never done before. They're not even important. So don't even keep that in mind. Evaluate what went wrong. So what did I do? I realized that when I was washing my mattress, I used too much water. It's simple. I used a little bit more water than what I was recommended, as well as other products. And because of that, that ended up with me spilling it. And it ended up spilling on the carpet. I don't have to beat myself up. I don't have to be stressed out. I don't have to be overwhelmed, regardless if I was able to fix it that day or it took me a while. Because once again, you know your finances, you know your situation. I can now feel relaxed. I don't have to feel so overwhelmed. I don't have to be worked up about it. I've accepted it. I talked about it. I was able to come up with a solution. I was able to come up with a plan. And now, of course, like I said, if you give it to God, answers to the universe, you know what to do moving forward. And this is a lesson learned, a valuable lesson learned. You have to be grateful that you can overcome your lessons. A lot of times people end up making choices. They don't get a second chance. So that's the sixth thing. Learn to be grateful that you were able to learn from the situation. I'm grateful that I was able to learn from the situation. So therefore, moving forward, like I said, I can prevent this from happening. Or if it does happen again, God forbid, we don't want that to happen, I know what to do. That's the same thing when it comes to, like I said, unless it's your health and death, because like I said, that's going to be a different topic for a different video. Because over here, we're solution-based. I'm solution-based. I'm not making excuses. I'm not being angry. I'm not being upset. I'm not dwelling over anything that's out of my control. I did the best that I could. It is what it is. That's the type of attitude that we have over here. It's 2025. And as your favorite mental health specialist, who's really your favorite rich auntie, nobody has time to be stressed and depressed. Like I said, physically, nobody has time. Nobody has time. So over here, we're coming up with solutions. So you could cry, you could be sad, but you're going to get your pen and paper. You're going to take your notes. You're going to take what resonates. You're going to leave the rest. You're going to watch these videos. You're going to practice. We're going to get in the field. We're going to stop crying. We're going to have our chest up, chin out, head straight, do what we need to do, and we're going to keep it moving. Because we didn't come here to suffer. We didn't come here to worry. We didn't come here to be upset because in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 6 months, it's not going to matter. It's not. You are not going to live forever. That carpet that I spilled the water on is not going to be with me when I leave this earth. Same thing when it comes to you. So it's really important that we figure out how we end up in these situations. We take accountability. We realize we made certain choices and deal with it. You get a flat tire. First thing that we talked about, accept it. If your tire is flat, your tire is flat. If you can't get AAA, if you can't get roadside assistance, if you can't get somebody to help you with the tire, if you can't put air in the tire, if you don't have an air pump, if you can't pull to the side, acknowledge that your tire is flat. You have to talk about it. You could feel mad because, oh, I was on the road. Now I'm about to be late to work. Things happen. You have a right to be upset because you got a flat tire, but guess what? You have to solve the problem. You can't just leave your tire flat. You can, but then what? When you wait to solve your problems or you allow your problems to marinate and you dwell in them, they become bigger. And that's when people fail to realize, and I'm not going to make this video too much longer, but that makes it so much more than what it is. If you just have the attitude, oh my God, my tire is flat. Now I'm just going to have your whole day doesn't have to be ruined just because something happened to you. Your tire's flat, like I said, okay, what can I do to fix my tire? Yes, I'm mad right now because maybe you didn't have the extra money to spend for a tire. Maybe you don't have another tire. Now you have to, okay, that's fine. If you don't have it immediately, you're going to get to have a phone. You're going to have some type of contact. Somebody's going to be able to help you. And you have to know that, especially if you believe in God, ancestors, universe. If you say you have faith, your faith has to be stronger than your fears. And that's a different topic for a different video. And that's what a lot of people lack. And that's why a lot of people are struggling. I'm going to keep it cute, but speaking from experience, my faith has to be stronger than my current circumstances because my current circumstances don't define me. It's how I feel. It's what I speak over the situation. Yes, it's an inconvenience. You're driving to work, you get a flat tire, but you have to fix your tire. You're just going to leave your car on the side of the road. You're just going to have attitude. Well, my tire is flat and now I can't. No, that can't be your attitude. That cannot be your attitude, especially if you going to work affects other people. Now, if it's just you, of course, like I said, you can feel how you feel, but as a grown person, that can't be our attitude. And I'm going to end up the video like that. So if you guys have questions, comments, and concerns, let me know. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Don't mind this wig. This wig, what is it called? A hairpiece, whatever. That's not important. Let me know what you guys want to talk about. Follow me on all social media platforms. When it comes to solving problems, like I said, it does take time. I am speaking from experience. And I am somebody who, like I said, is very solution based. Don't come to me with a problem if you don't want a solution. Now, if you just want to vent about something, okay, cool. Let that be known. When you have problems and you're confiding in people, always ask for permission. Ask them, do you mind listening to me vent? Or do you just want a solution? Because some people don't care to listen. Some people don't want to help you. And that's when people get upset. You have to know who you're talking to. You need to know who your friends are. And most importantly, who you are. But if you really need to vent to somebody, vent to God, ancestors, and universe. And if you don't believe in that, vent in yourself. Make sure you guys follow me. I will be going live on TikTok and on Instagram talking about this. DM me if you guys have any questions or comments. Let me know in the comment section down below how this video affected you. And if you're interested in a service or a session, head to my website at techguidance.com. But we're going to be okay. We just have to learn how to come up with solutions, take our time, acknowledge what has happened to us, and evaluate how we got in these situations in the first place. Okay? Love you. Bye.